What's going on, everybody? This is SafeWord. Ba, ba, ba,
Oh,
ba. All right,
snizzle.
what's going on? You guys know what it is. This is your platform for teaching, learning, and opening the eyes of our audience to the world of kink, BDSM, and relationships.
Relationships.
Oh, yeah.
I am your host, Kane Marcos.
Get it together, Night.
For real, Night. Get it together. We're gonna need you to participate.
Like
Participation.
relationships. I gotta wake up for that one, Mom.
Man, that time zone differences. For real.
well, I don't know if you said that you're the host, one of the hosts, but
Yeah, I
did you
None of
intro?
You guys pay attention
Yeah,
to me. It's cool. Just.
Well, I'm your other host, Aurora Storm.
And I am your co-host, Callista Fury.
And I'm the other co-host, Knight Wagner.
So here's the dang deal. Did y'all watch the dang ad? Because if you did, then you know what tonight's topic is. If you didn't, you continue to disappoint me. Okay. Yes.
Oh.
Go ahead, Ms. Calista.
But first, make sure you like and subscribe for more content on kink, BDSM, and
Say it with us.
Relationships.
As you can see, Miss Callista is in town, okay? Woo! SafeWord crew linking it up. I told you we bringing it to you. We're gonna try and get Knight to come out of his cave in a foreign country and meet up with us. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but we're gonna work on that one. I'm working on that one for you.
Sorry, I am avoiding the monkeypox pandemic.
So when you come into the U.S., he said, "I don't want to get shot."
No.
That's not all we do here.
How can I step? Yeah, no.
All right. So first and foremost, we need to say hello to our A1 since day one. He rocks with us on all of our shows, all of our lives, all of our channels, and leaves comments and likes and subscribes. You know what I'm saying? So, crew, would we like to say hello to our A1 since day one, our fan favorite? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hey,
What's up, Roy?
My boy, Roy.
Boy. Yes.
So here's the deal. If you want your shout out like Mr. Roy gets his shout out every Friday, all you got to do is be here, comment, like, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell. All right, but if you just landed here and you have no idea what you're watching, I do. Okay. All right. Well, this is SafeWord. And here on SafeWord, we have a safe of the day. We use this SafeWord to stop, halt, and completely put a pause on all topic of conversation. So, SafeWord crew, would we like to let everybody know what the safe word of the day is? If you don't know, it's right there on the board. This is a phone one now. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh, are we supposed to say?
So, if you want the conversation to stop, it's getting too hot and heavy, you just want people to shut the heck up, say the safe word of the day. But a lot of times we have audio issues. So, safe word crew, what do we do if we're saying the safe word of the day and no one's shutting the up? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Cacao. All right. Make sure you throw up that hand signal and make sure you say the safe word of the day, which is beep. All right. So that everybody knows what it is.
I think you need to do one more for good measure.
That's a lot of cursing. Okay, so Mr. Kane, do we have Kink news?
Yes, we do. All right, so kicking off this week, I don't know how many of our viewers are football fans, but if you were able to tune into the Monday Night Football game, Troy Aikman got himself into a little bit of hot water when he decided to utter the comment. There was some questionable calls as far as like what the referees were doing with how they were protecting the quarterback, and of course, you know, with the Tua Tagovailoa incident. I don't know. You guys follow sports at all? I mean, we sports fans here. We watch football. Yeah, we good. We know.
Women's volleyball. Hello, thank you.
All right, so
We know why Knight's watching women's volleyball. Come on.
close ups. Avid gambler over there, man. He bets on
Yeah.
women's volleyball. All right, so a couple weeks back, you know, just a little precursor to this, one of the quarterbacks, the Miami Dolphins quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, he got himself into the concussion protocol, but he tried to continue playing, and so it brought up a lot of questions on whether or not the NFL referees were doing everything they could to protect the quarterback. He got slammed pretty hard on his head, got up, was a little bit shaky. You could see him kind of like falling back down after he got his feet underneath him, so he wasn't good. And he's been out on the concussion protocol since week 3, I believe. Might have been week 4, but it was a huge controversy. So on the Monday Night Football game, I'm pretty sure the refs kind of got their asses handed to them as far as, hey, you guys need to pay attention a little bit better. And so they were making a lot of superfluous calls as far as, roughing the passer, getting in the quarterback's face. And the announcer for the Monday Night Football, Troy Aikman, said, "Can we get the dresses off, please?" So, of course, that drew a lot of backlash, and he issued an apology earlier this week saying, hey, it wasn't a shot at the trans community or anything. It was just, we're playing a men's sport, so it would be nice if, the men could play the sport instead of, just all these questionable calls. So
Right.
that's drawn a huge controversy, and it kind of follows in suit with something else that's been, plaguing, just sports franchises and everything else, where you're having a lot of paid athletes, in certain sports, just having, some opinions and trying to play the game the way that the game was originally meant to be played, and drawing a lot of backlash when, like I said, you kind of throw in the mix, things that used to be okay to say back in like the 70s, 80s, yesterday, just, hey, quit playing like a girl. And play the damn sport.
Yesterday.
Walk it off. Just walk it off.
Right. And so, I really want to get your guys' opinions on this. I know it's really easy to step in it these days. It's really easy to say something and end up, on a blacklist for lack of a better word, just hate crimes as far as, how people react and feel about, just their fellow man. So, do you really think that, the comment deserved, an apology to the transgender community as far as, again, it's a men's sport. It's the National Football League. He made a comment saying like, hey, let's be a little bit more manly about this. Let's walk it off. Let's, play the game instead of pussifying it, for lack of a better word. So
Why is the trans community upset?
Well, because what's wrong with a man wearing a dress?
Because you know why the trans community is upset, because there's a lot of labels out there and people have really attached themselves to labels, and so they get offended when things are said the wrong way, especially with the trans community. Act like a man. Well,
is that just people being like too sensitive?
Too sensitive?
Oh, yeah.
Too sensitive? Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's just my personal opinion, but in the same aspect, I don't know. I guess it depends on the person, because you don't know what that person's gone through. I mean, it's just like racism, and people have issues with you saying certain things. If you've been judged for this, that, or the other, I could see where it would be offensive. But I do think that it's been taken a little far, because even with generations today, okay, like 19-year-olds, like I can't say like buck it up, buttercup, like without it being a sexist comment. And I'm like, ow.
I identify as a buttercup. Thank you very much. You cannot. Very sweet. Maybe that's Roy.
I mean, there's definitely people out there without manners. Unfortunately there are, but at a certain point, just because you're offended doesn't make you right. You just kind of got to pull your big girl, big boy panties, or whatever you identify as.
Right.
Handsome.
And move on.
I mean,
Look at you throwing out, quick put on your pants. Look at you being phobic.
Hey, I'm wearing a dress, so I'm not being phobic right now.
And that's why I added, or pull your skirt up. Just let it all hang out. Well, just be free. Free your kink.
What happened to the days of being able to offend just one fucking person?
Right.
This is the point. Like, he didn't say, everyone's wearing trans dresses right now. He said it's a dress thing, meaning he's talking about a specific gender. He's not talking about others and mixes and those that are in between. He's saying, listen, we're acting like girls who are playing football. Plain and simple.
Well, and here's the thing is that even that nowadays is offensive. You're playing football like a girl.
Have
like,
you
what do you
seen
mean?
Girls
Have you
play
seen
football?
Yeah.
There's some badass girls.
Right.
They're tough.
No joke. Because that I'm sorry. You
Yes.
couldn't get me in my bra and panties full on tackling. No.
No, that is true, but
The same tackling with less gear.
With less gear. They're getting more.
that is true. When they play against other women they are rough and tumble. However, in every single circumstance, when they had mixed football, when it was mixed gender football, they got squashed hard.
Well, and something that I really want to like throw out there is, I'm sorry to say, but there's different leagues for a reason, and you know there's a lot of proof around it, and whether you agree with it or not, like it's not sexist to say that the capabilities of either gender within the league are vastly different. So, are there some women who could play in the National Football League? Absolutely, absolutely, but not every woman could play in the National Football League. All right.
Those
just like every man can.
Out on the farms, out in Montana and Texas, those are the women.
Oh yeah.
Or on a kink show, because I used to kick for my high school team. So hi boys.
Why are they always kickers too? Why are they always kickers?
Right. Well, because I mean, like, where else are you gonna do? They're not gonna let you on the field. I wanted to tackle, and my coach looked at me and was like, "You're 5 foot nothing. You're gonna die." Oh well. It would be fun. No, it wouldn't. We're talking concussion city. Just go out there and kick the ball, baby.
And it's not unfortunate to say. It's just like, hey, not to say that you have limited capability, but when you're one woman against, 11 other guys on the team, I mean, you're kind of sorely outmatched. And it's not to say that you're less capable. It's just, hey, you're not necessarily, on the same at the same ability level as some of these guys that have been playing since forever to be able to move, tackle, absorb a hit like that. Not to mention, it's a lose-lose situation. If you're a female on the team and you're returning the ball and you make it through, everyone's either going to give the other team shit for, hey, you guys can't tackle a girl, or if they do tackle, like, dude, what the hell's wrong with you? You tackled the chick. Like,
yeah,
you tackled the chick. Yeah,
you're the asshole. Yep.
Hey, she got the ball. She's getting
That's a lose-lose situation.
Well, and Roy actually has a comment that fits right in with this. So he said, my favorite part is when people are complaining about the term guys for 4-year-olds. So like, come on guys, let's go. And then people complain about it because you're grouping a group of children. Hey guys, come on, let's go.
Like, they don't know any better. Like, they don't have like that in their head just yet. And so you're starting them off really
that's the thing. They're saying you're indoctrinating them early. That's what they're saying. Is like you're putting this in their mind early.
Yeah.
The important thing for me here, and the thing that's getting lost in the conversation, right, is that he was on a protocol, concussion protocol, right?
Yep.
The point is, the NFL has made changes because now that we have players that are retiring after decades of playing football, and they are saying, listen, my body is wrecked. My knees are wrecked. My back is wrecked. I have issues with the head because of, I got hit so many times. So now they're saying, listen, we need to take seriously, we need to set up certain protocols to protect the players. And if that means they have to make these calls, then yes, the sport has changed. We hit harder now than we have because we have better protection. We have better helmets. So it looks like the girls are froze up.
Yeah, how did that happen?
I was talking about football and they're like,
Oh, we're getting flagged.
There they go.
We're getting flagged by, the big league for
NFL. We said the magic words like
yeah.
Copyright.
I know. I'm sitting here watching on the monitor and I'm like, we are frozen. We are seriously frozen. Nope, we're just frozen. We're frozen.
You say it 2 times, we're kicking you out.
Right.
Yeah, you can only say it 3 times in a row and then you're done.
We're still streaming, so I think we're good.
All right, that football league.
Yeah, don't mention it.
But that's almost a good thing though, because these guys are getting beat up, and by the time that they retire, their brain and their body really has taken a beating.
Yeah, it really
has. And boxers too. Boxers are the same way.
Yeah, they're messed up. I mean, just look at Muhammad Ali and like the way he speaks, or Tyson, the way he speaks now. Like people get really jacked up after these sports. They really do.
And I understand that that's part of the profession. That's what they've signed up for. But at the same time, if they're not going to watch out for their bodies, someone should.
Yeah.
Well, and so to like add on to that statement, I mean, when you join the military, you know, like you might be getting into a, part of the service that might see frontline combat, right? So you sign up knowing that you're taking the risk that you may get shot at, you may get hit,
Mhm.
you may get killed, and that's kind of like the inherent risk of taking up the profession. Does not for any reason mean that that should be expected. Doesn't mean that you
Yeah.
can't make it through your term of enlistment or even your football career and not make it out healthily. So yeah, there
Yeah.
definitely
Right.
does need to be a little bit more in terms of, hey, making sure that these guys have a long fruitful career and a long and fruitful life afterwards. So not to say that like, oh, let's take tackling out of it, let's put them in flags or two-hand touch or something, but
Do that.
like let's do a
Yeah.
little bit more work on the pads. Let's do a little bit more work on the helmets.
But one of the things about the military, and one of the things I really appreciate about the military, is that they do take your individual safety very seriously. So when you sign
Yeah,
up
they
and you
do.
join the military, you know you're getting the best gear, you're getting the best equipment. There are people whose job is to make sure the things that you're doing and the equipment that you're working is been maintained. And
I see Kane's face. That's USMC going, wait, what? You got the best what? Huh? What?
oh wait,
What happened?
oh I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Hold on.
I'm sorry, I was in the Air Force and
Like, wait, you got.
We-
I didn't
we-
get
we-
this
we-
gear. I
we
got
take care of
that
the-
gear.
I only laughed or scoffed. I responded the way I did because real quick, back in the day, there was this article in the Army Times saying that they were rejecting 55,000 helmets that they contracted from a military supplier because they didn't meet the criteria that they had signed on for.
they gave it to the.
So
Yep, yep,
the,
yep.
the
We gave it to
headline-
the.
the headline on the Army Times was that U.S. Army rejects 55,000 helmets from such and such manufacturer for manufacturing defects. The following week, on the Marine Corps Times, it says Marine Corps graciously accepts 55,000 Kevlar helmets from U.S. Army. It's like,
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah,
First to go,
that's-
last to know, and you don't get good gear when you go. Bye bye.
yeah.
Here's your magazine.
Sorry-
I'm pretty
sorry,
sure like
Marines.
half of them work.
Yeah, that is true. I will say that.
Oh my goodness. No. Mm-mm.
All right, so
I'm sorry, I had to bleep that one because I saw your face.
All right, so in other news, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the gentleman, or you know what? Let me start that over.
It's okay. Words are hard.
Right, words are words.
You'll understand why here in a little bit. I mean, I might catch hell just from this community for calling him a gentleman, but I stepped in it. All right, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with an individual, Alex Jones. All right, so,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I
you
don't
know
know.
Alex Jones. You know Alex Jones.
Okay. I know Alex Jones.
You know
Alex-
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones runs a podcast. He's one of like the biggest. I'm sorry, I'm getting some feedback. I'm trying to adjust my mic here. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
We got
yes,
you.
yes, yes.
All
We
right,
got
Just gonna
you.
bounce back.
let me pull some settings back real fast.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties.
You heard of InfoWars, right? This podcast, kind of right wing conservative podcast.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Alex Jones ran this. He has a huge base. Lots of people came in and from Ben Shapiro and all these conservative speakers. So that he's in that whole circle.
Okay. All right. So what's the story on this, Kay?
So he's kind of made a not so much a name for himself, but he's gotten some notoriety over the years for a lot of conspiratorial theories that, I mean, some conspiracy theories, I mean, you can kind of get on board with, and some other ones, it's just like, what fucking nut?
Where'd you
know,
pull that from?
yeah.
Yeah.
Just a couple of gems that he's come up with so far. That the European government engineered frogs with homosexual DNA to turn straight people gay.
That's why you don't kiss frogs.
Yeah. What was it?
That's a new one.
Fluoride in the water was engineered by the government to dumb down children to train them for the pedophile government. Those are some of the things.
Seems to
that
be working. Kids are dumb.
brought up. And so again,
And the latest one, the one that got him in hot water.
Do you know it? Go ahead.
The latest one is the Sandy Hook massacre.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that guy?
Now
Yes.
you know Alex
Oh,
Jones.
that guy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because he's
that-
on trial. He's on
yeah,
trial.
He's
that-
on
that
trial
guy-
right now. Yeah.
He's done with trial. He was ordered to pay $965 million. Just
$1
a
billion.
$600
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
One
Oh, I didn't hear
billion.
It's this insane amount of money. And even when and if he goes through the appellate court and he appeals through all this, I don't know that that his victims will ever see any kind of money.
Well, and here's
Out
the
of-
thing. Here's the thing: is he can't. The way that they fined him, it wasn't a. I forgot how they worded it, but it's not something he can dispute. It's not a.
With prejudice. So it's like the same like Amber Heard. She has to pay. She can't back out. She can't
Right.
file bankruptcy. It has to be paid somehow.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
has to-
they can't pay it, but he can't back out.
Well, didn't he also just like sign over his house to his new wife?
he
So
has-
he doesn't have any assets in his name, does he? Or anything meaningful in his name?
If he was
that
smart,
part
he
of
wouldn't.
his- yeah, that was part of his.
Yeah, he sold off most of it.
Yeah.
I remember him doing that before they ever took him to
Yeah.
trial because he opened his mouth, and so he was just like selling off his stuff, and I was like, oh, you know what you're doing, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So yeah, he's
Yeah,
in the news
he knew.
as of late. Earlier this week, he was ordered to pay $965 million in, and that's the thing is, it's not. It's technically reparations, but it's not listed as reparations because reparations can be subject to appeal. He's ordered to pay $965 million as a fine, like a court fee, so that way there is no backing out of it. There is no bankruptcy. There is no. I mean, like somebody's gonna get $965 million. Or I don't know, like maybe
Or
he passes
he's-
on to his children. Like that is one of those forever debts, like in perpetuity kind of deals.
I think there's a way that can pass on to his children unless it was a trust type of deal. Right?
No, I mean,
I'm not a lawyer, so
Right, we're not legal teams.
No.
he started liquidating things before he went because he saw the
Yeah.
writing on the wall.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Um,
he did. Yeah.
He will obviously try to appeal, and they may reduce the damages, calling it excessive.
Yeah.
That's as far as probably it would get. But
Mhm.
based on he has made a lot of money. He has
Oh,
made
yeah,
a
he
lot
has.
of money.
Oh yeah,
It's a $3 million home.
Yeah.
So he does have revenue streams. The thing is that they will be garnished. He will have to be audited and all this other stuff. So he won't be making money in the future. And they may see a pittance, a small thing of that, but his way of making money is now done. He can't.
Yep.
He's not going to be a rich man yet.
Yep. That's crazy.
All right.
That is crazy. Just his whole life spun around for.
But the thing is,
I've
there
got
are
an
people on
opinion.
his side still. There are people like still supporting him.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah.
I mean,
So-
but there's always going to be people like that. Think about it. I mean, like, we just did that whole thing on alpha males and, male toxicity. Like, there's just going to be followers that latch on for some reason or another.
Well,
you know?
they're latching on the free speech thing. They're like, he's being
Yeah,
censored
and
and he's being.
I was just about to say that because I mean, like, there's a whole thing going around with, with just even the Republicans and the Democrats and all the freaking voting that's happening and the back and forth, right? So, I mean, I could see everybody jumping on the bandwagon, going, "This is not a to freedom of speech, and you're taking away his rights." Like, I can see all that. So,
And so just the last little bit, just to round this out, I was recently pleasured by this TikTok video that just tickled.
Oh. How do I sign up for that?
For my
well.
you was recently pleasured.
Goddamn,
Is that a new
sounds
feature?
better, all right, so it was just something that I found amusing. Okay, it was a joy to watch. Okay, I was treated fine for you fucks. All right, so there was this chick on TikTok, and she came out with this little video blurb or whatever, those little TikTok things, and said that, guys, if you talk to your girlfriends or if you talk to women the way you talk to your guy friends, you'll get a lot of a lot more reciprocation back.
What?
So
Is she dumb?
right? That's
Wait,
what I
what?
said. That's why I was.
She's-
That's why I was amused because, like,
It-
immediately when she said that, I was like, you know what? I could never imagine being in a club, walking up to a chick and be like, "Hey, girl, what's up? Yeah, who do you think would win in a fight, Batman or He-Man? Where are you going?" Like, these are
Yeah.
the things guys talk to other guys about ain't necessarily something that we could just share with the opposite sex. Because a lot of times we don't make a whole lot of damn sense.
No.
Well, yeah, that's apparent, but like I can maybe kind of see where she's coming from, but maybe she didn't word it right because like I grew up as a tomboy, so like when guys try and like filter and because there's a girl around, I'm like, dude, just say it. Yes, my dick hangs down to my too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so like I get it. Like, but I think she worded that wrong because there's a lot
No,
of women
absolutely.
that came up and was like, yo, so what you, yeah. They would be like,
I think maybe that's where she was going. Like, you don't need to raise the pitch of your voice,
Right,
And
right.
and maybe trying to use big words.
Mhm.
Maybe that's where she's going with that. Because the reason we raise our pitch is so we come across as less threatening, which is weird because women like deep voices. So we're like, you want to dance?
Oh my god, yeah. Because I mean, if you come at me with that kind of voice, I'm gonna be like,
We all do it. It's weird.
we're babying you tonight. You so cute. Come here, let me just. Ooh. Yeah.
It's a weird habit. Like, think about it. Think about it,
That
guys.
don't work for me. No.
I'm gonna mommy you. You're gonna pay me after this though, because that's a whole lot of work. Okay.
Like, Payne, when you
know,
talk to your guys and you talk to your girls, do you use a different like voice?
Oh yeah, I definitely have to be a little bit more soft spoken when like talking to a female one on one, just because like I've never understood it. Everyone always says you come off really intimidating, and I mean it's not even something I'm necessarily trying to do. I don't know where. I mean I got teased a lot when I was a kid, so I guess that's where the mentality of I'm not an intimidating individual comes from. But then other people will be like, "Oh no, I was severely intimidated by this person." Like, how? What the hell? What did I do? What did I say? How did I act? Just like so when talking to like a female coworker or something one on one, it's, "Hey, so I mean, I definitely got to soften up a little bit, just because I don't want you to feel uncomfortable or anything. Like, hey, would you mind, doing this or sweeping that floor if I come out and like, hey, I need you to sweep that floor?" Like, oh,
Why are you so hostile?
yeah.
Well, I think it depends though, Kane, on the scenario, because I mean, if you're in play scene, I don't think you're gonna be like, "Hey, girl, do you think that you could put this ball gag in your mouth and be
There's
very,
a
very
contract. Like, that makes that acceptable. Like,
by the way, put the blindfold on too, so you can't see what I'm doing to you." Good.
Oh.
All right.
well, obviously
Great.
we're talking about two completely different scenarios. So
That voice don't work for me either.
Well, some people may like it. Don't knock it. Don't knock it.
I've gotten a request for that, but
There's still hope.
No, or maybe she kind of just meant, you know how you talk to your boys when you video game.
Mhm.
I know you both know how you guys speak to each other when you video game. You guys can lay out a strategic game plan,
What?
whenever you're playing like Modern
No.
Warfare or whatever game it is.
It's
And
like,
be
dumbass, I told you to wash my six. What are you doing?
Yes.
Fucking real.
Hey.
No, for fucking real.
So clear, and you're sharing your feelings. Like, dude, what the fuck?
Where
is
did
that?
that go? Where did that go?
And
Hold
that
on,
gets-
communication.
That gets lost when you're talking
no.
to women.
I
No,
bet
no,
you
no,
if we
no.
was playing Horizons right now, you'd be
No,
able to
no, no.
communicate about where we need to go.
Bleep,
Mm-mm-mm.
bleep. Hang on.
Mm-mm.
No, hold up. Hold up. I don't want to hear no shit from no woman about how dudes talk to each other on video games when y'all can
Mm-mm-mm.
coordinate and plan out your outfits for an entire week, but you can't pick where to go for fucking dinner.
Let me
Oh, wait,
share.
hold
All you need to do is say, all you need
but when it
to
comes
do
to dinner,
is
like, what do
say,
you want to
babe,
eat, girl? I don't know.
Okay. All you need to do is you need to say, babe, guess where we're going? And she'll tell you where.
Mm.
That's the
Mm.
trick.
Mm-mm-mm. Nine.
You guys just need to
Listen.
learn how to speak the language.
Listen.
That's
Listen.
to figure out where to
I
eat.
will shout.
What the fuck?
No. I will shout at a girl or a guy or a kid, the same way if we're gaming and you F something up, I will shout at you all the same. It will all
Hold on.
equal.
Bleep! I'm still traumatized. I hate playing with Knight because he tears me a new one if I fuck up at all.
It is. I'm all about equality. All right.
Why do I even play with you?
All about equality, especially like something like Overcooked. No, genders out the window. Out the
By
window.
the way, we gotta get an Overcooked night going on. All right, we gonna bring you a gaming night probably over the holidays.
Hey, that's a good idea.
So we all can get stressed and scream at each other and see if we communicate effectively.
Going well.
Overcooked. We cannot bring a game night and play Overcooked because the second one of either me or Knight is just like, Aurora, I need you on the dishes. That's it.
Keep me over here chopping. Oh my God.
I'm not gonna say you're right, but you're not wrong.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, I can make the food. I'll deliver it out. Don't get me in the back doing. I'm black, first of all. Okay.
See, exactly.
Now, don't put me in the motherfucking kitchen if you know the goddamn dishes. Okay, I ain't doing the motherfucking dishes.
We ain't playing.
Unbelievable. There goes 2 stars down the drain.
Right. If we play a game night, we're gonna play Pong or Tetris. 'Cause that's like the least, Pac-Man or something. We're gonna go with the classics. Retro game night. Nothing.
I can't
later
chop a
than
tomato. You put me on dishes. You think I can't chop? Yeah.
Oh boy, no. This.
Like that.
All right. So this girl.
10 years, goddammit.
This girl's nuts. We need to talk to women differently.
I need to. I think I'm losing my
I
hearing.
know how
I'm
Where?
loud. What you want? I'm loud. All right,
Yeah,
let's get.
no.
Was that all you had for your Kink news?
That's the Kink news.
All the way around the world. All right, so let's get this show started. So, if you watched the video, you know what it's about. If you didn't, it's on SFW versus FSW.
Ooh, what team is that?
Have on a relationship. So yeah, exactly. You weren't here for the S&M BDSM versus thing. We'll bring that one back where we do teams. All right, but that's not tonight. We are actually going to talk about some of the differences and just kind of get some opinions from my crew. I got a list of questions, and I know that Ken's got some questions too, and we all just going to round about this, all right? So first things first, real simple question, and I just kind of want to know what you guys think, if you guys can give me a definition. What is the difference between SFW and NFSW?
So asking for a friend, what does that mean? What are the?
Oh, it means single female white and.
No, shut your face. No, SFW is safe for work. NSFW is not safe for work. So this really has to deal with like imaging and things like that, censorship, what is considered safe to watch versus what is not.
I was asking for Roy.
Oh, okay. All right.
We're asking for Roy.
So, Ken, do you have anything to add to that? The differences between SFW and NSFW?
I have a personal opinion. Do you want something?
Yes. I want to hear your personal opinion, please. Yes, make it layman's terms. That's why I'm asking everybody.
Well, it's just not safe for work. I mean, there's a lot that goes underneath those categories. But like as far as like a sexual nature goes, I would say like anything that's too revealing or anything that could offend a coworker would be deemed not safe for work. Which this day and age, I mean, you can't send over a fucking lemonade recipe without pissing somebody off. So.
You don't let that lemonade look sexy now.
All right, so real quick. So again, back when I was stationed in San Diego, they came to us. My captain came up and had a whole meeting with all of us because we had our own personal computers, and so a lot, we're a bunch of young guys in between the ages of 18 to 25. So our desktop backgrounds were like models on sports cars or just actresses that we found attractive.
Megan Fox on a car.
You're right.
Emma Stone,
Kate Upton for a bit. She did a photo shoot where she was barefoot, so that was my background.
Oh.
There we go. There we go.
Well, we all had they had a meeting with those guys and said, you know, like, hey, you guys got to get, if you have a woman on your background, you have to change your background because it's offensive to your female Marine counterparts, right? And so all of us were just like, oh, okay, damn, you know, like that's terrible, you know, like we get it, and, you know, we didn't realize we were being offensive. The captain's talking to us, so we kind of have to be like, oh, we had no idea.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Yeah. Desktop backgrounds. They didn't have a meeting with the female Marines, and so a lot of the female Marines backgrounds were those old Playgirl shoots where it was like the dude in the like butt ass naked, and he's just like got a cowboy hat, you know, hanging off of his junk, you know, like it's covered, but what's holding up the cowboy hat? So there was definitely like that double standard. So when you talk about like safe for work versus not safe for work, that's why I said it's subjective depending on who you're talking to, because that was
I don't see
apparently
anything wrong with that.
Right. No.
Yeah.
No. No. I think that hats should be hung on a hat rack. That's where they go.
Yeah.
In my defense, Kate at least had a bikini on, you know, like it wasn't.
It's pool attire.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Mr. Knight, do you have anything to add to NSFW versus SFW? Now that we know that what it means, safe for work versus not safe for work.
It should be an easy answer, but actually it's a lot more nuanced than that. Like my baseline would be, you know, professional. Is that something that you would like your mom to come over and see, or your priest to come over and see where you work? But on the other hand, in some workplaces, it's okay. If you go to a mechanic shop, you'll see the pinup calendar, and nobody has a problem with that. So that's safe for work. That same calendar wouldn't work 9 to 5 at Wendy's or anywhere else. So,
all right. Yep, very true. Callista, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, well, I just really think it's the obvious when it comes to that stuff, like pornography being one. If you're working at a front desk or where there's other people walking by, you don't want to sit there and have this porno going off in the background, you know, and I think that would be not safe for work.
Not safe for work. Okay.
Unfortunately, in one of the dealerships that I had worked at, we had some male coworkers that were looking at some sketchy stuff. So they would see a customer come by, and that was not okay. Exactly. They were quickly moving and everything.
Watch the end of the video where the dude closes the laptop.
Is we were in vehicles that were glass. So, you know, even though they thought that we couldn't see their screen, it was mirrored.
Reflecting.
Fucking
not safe for work. Personal use only.
See, now I'm going to piggyback here off a night because it really does depend where you work. Because, see, I worked in a dungeon at one point in time. So, not safe for... That didn't really exist.
That's like marketing.
Yeah. So, with that being said, because Miss Callista brought up a great little tidbit here, right? Where she said porn, okay? I would consider porn, you know, on a screen somewhere, and especially if it's reflecting and showing back. So what do you guys consider porn? And I am going to kick this to Knight first.
I don't know if I want to hear this answer.
Not me! So what do you consider porn?
Society says, obviously it varies from country to country, because here in Europe you could free the top and it's not pornographic,
right?
You know, so that's one thing. Although granted, they don't have billboards plastered all over the place for children's sake, but it's not as bad as it is in the States.
We don't get into that tonight.
But you know, porn is a sexual representation. Now, let's say you put a goat in a bikini. That's a sexual representation, right?
Or
is that porn? Or you know what I mean? I got the.
I'm just saying. The breast meat, you know.
You know what I mean? Like some people could look at the back. I see you got a pinup. You know, old McDonald's farm on the wall.
Yeah, hey, and then that's
So-
safe for work, right? Or porn? Not porn. Not porn. 'Cause
I
it's just
think
animals.
we're bordering bestiality here.
Bestiality. We will get into that in season 3. We are going to touch on that just so y'all understand what it is. But we do not condone it here at SafeWord, just so you know. All right.
Hey. That cow looks pretty damn sexy.
But Mr. K, would you like to take us into the nasty side and maybe explain to us, maybe on a in your deep philosophical voice, what porn is? And what do you consider porn?
Now, this is where it like for me, I can only speak from a personal perspective, and for me, like I would deem porn anything that's
The Payless catalog.
yeah. Honestly, I mean,
No, yeah.
no, but, like, I have a foot fetish. Okay, so like my porn collection was like shoe catalogs and like, that kind of stuff. But honestly, I would say that I kind of draw the line on porn, and I like to play the devil's advocate. As far as like arguing this, where if it's just a nude woman, I would like to consider that art. All right.
Okay.
Now, when you start getting into like penetration, masturbation, or like the penthouse spread, I would deem that like, all right, that's a little bit too explicit, so I would deem that as porn, even though it's just a single person, not necessarily doing anything.
Like sexualized.
Yeah, eccentric in nature, but it is very revealing. But I mean, like, Playboy, like I never considered that to be porn. Was it nude women? Yes, but I think it was done tastefully. So I would call that an art form. Anything more than that, like I said, you're doing the spread or you're doing the back shot, where you got the moons over my hammy, showing. So, yeah, I would label that as porn, and then everything above that, getting into masturbation, penetration, I would even consider some fetish stuff kind of light in nature, like when it comes to foot fetishes, when it comes to, food fetishes, things like that. I wouldn't consider that as much porn as I would, just fetish-sized art. Like I said,
Art.
So why do they call it? Why do they call it food porn then?
Well, because that's kind of become, and that's kind of where we shot ourselves in the foot as a society. Is, I mean, I could go outside, mow the lawn, and I'm a man doing housework, and that seems to turn a lot of women on, and I could call that mom porn, right? And I'm not doing anything sexual. I'm not doing anything explicit. I'm not being revealing, but it is something that I'm marketing as enticing towards the opposite sex because it is, housework, chores, Women love to see, guys actually doing something instead of, their husband sitting at home watching football like, motherfucker, don't mow the lawn, So...
This dude mows the lawn with his shirt off. And a hat hanging on his coat rack. I like him.
So it sounds like anything that turns you on can be considered porn, be it food,
But
Wait,
there's so many different things that can turn a person on. People have different things that turn me. That turn me.
I got a lot of things to turn me on.
Like a man in my kitchen while my feet is up and they're cooking me tacos.
Oh yes.
That turns me on.
Yes.
You're getting some that night.
But
that's such a a wide variety that's too broad because someone can sit there and stroke this little dragon and be like, oh, that turns me on, that's what really gets it, so that's whereas another person be like, what's wrong with her,
right,
yeah.
Can you say stroke again?
For $20.
Oh, I like it. See, we like this.
I like it. There's the
Charge them. All right. So I'm just going to add on to this just a little bit because I really enjoyed the route that Kane took with the fact that there is an artistic expression and you can be nude and it's not considered porn per se. I don't, and you know what? Here's actually, I have a question for the guys, and this is just a random off the top of the dome question. But so Kane explained that, like, if someone's spreading it or masturbation or penetration, then all of a sudden it turns into porn for him, right? Or that's what he would label it as, right? As his own opinion. But if there's a girl, let's say, or a guy, right, and they are showing explicitly. Let's say it's more than art. So let's take a girl for example. Like if she's bare chested and she's Like, is that considered porn? From a guy's perspective, now did this, the squishing and the squeezing of them, did that turn it from art to now porn?
See, and this is where I'd have to make the argument that you're being explicit with it. You're explicitly intending for it to be arousing. So while I
Maybe they're trying to show you how the beautiful body moves
all right,
and contorts and just all them
I
fun
will-
Disney parts. So
I will say this.
He's like, breasts.
This is my area of expertise.
see a little some right here. You have to go, wipe that
So,
off.
in Europe, they have the theaters, especially when it comes to art, they like to be a bit avant-garde. So they have people come on stage butt naked and do different shows, and that's considered art. There's a joke about it, that this one director just likes to put naked dudes on stage and have them just stand in the background for the entire production, just butt naked. So when it comes to the representation of art, they still call it pornographic.
Right.
There's still people who clutch their pearls and say that's pornographic content. So again, it's generational. The Vatican at one time cut off all the wee-wees from the statues, and now they have them up at the Vatican. You can see,
They're reattached?
no, they've covered them with fig leaves and whatnot.
That's not okay.
I was gonna say, did they throw them away or did they put them in a box somewhere? Like,
Apparently, yes. Apparently, they put them all in a box and it's stored somewhere in the Vatican vaults. So there's a box of wee-wees. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yo, that would be great if SafeWord could get big enough to go see the box of wheelies.
Hey, just in case anybody from the Vatican is watching, as far as working with marble countertops goes, super glue doesn't work, but Gorilla Glue does.
Yeah. We can put them back on.
All
Think
right,
about
real quick before I get into the next question, real quick, just because I got to comment on this. Okay, so Roy said that Thor's goat isn't called throat masher for nothing. Okay,
I never thought of that.
right? And here's the next one. Calista, you're gonna love this. Only 20? Aurora, was it Venmo to pay?
Venmo details in the description.
She's like, 20? Heck yeah. All right. What are we doing? What's your name? What's your at?
So yeah, stroke that dragon again.
All right. So
There it goes.
like here's a great way to segue into this, because Knight sat there and said that, hey, here in Europe, you can be, free the nipple. It's accepted. It's not considered porn. They've got, plays, all this a little bit more open. So then do we think, and I really want to kind of get into this, and I'm just gonna, like, whoever wants to latch onto it first, grab it, okay? Do you think that some content is labeled wrong? Do you think, I mean, we could really go deep into this because there's a whole thing that's happening with labeling and people getting offended, and we talked about that earlier. So do you think that some content, as far as SFW being it marked as SFW versus NFW, do you think that there's that gets maybe overdone because of old-fashioned thoughts, or we're headed into new ones, so we're good? Or what do you guys think?
So would like breastfeeding fall under that?
No,
Because there's a lot of people who try to sexualize that.
well, yeah, but I mean, if you're not trying to sexualize
No,
it
that's
as-
that person trying
Right,
to
yeah.
feed their
yeah,
child.
right, yeah. If you're not trying to sexualize
Yeah.
it, then no, okay.
No,
Right.
but there was
But-
just a situation where a woman was, I think it was at TwitchCon in San Diego right now. There was a woman that was told, can't do that here because
Right.
boob.
Oh, I have kids. I've been told to leave an establishment while I'm breastfeeding my child, and I'm just like, excuse me, what? Excuse me, what? I'm sorry, you have a problem with it. you know?
Well, I've always been confused about the breastfeeding thing, just because, and it's, again, my personal opinion, a boob that's used for breastfeeding looks a lot different on the same woman than when she's not breastfeeding. Like, the nipples darken, there's a lot more going on. So I mean, like you could show a woman like pre-pregnancy and everything and have her topless, and then show her post-pregnancy during breastfeeding, and they look really different. So I mean, where the people
I
get
have never seen a situation where a woman's breastfeeding and she's just like, "Raw," right?
right,
They're usually pretty, it's like, cover this, bring the kid's
Oh,
there.
yeah. Mhm.
It's like, it's never been like, just hanging like, hold on, let me check my phone. Oh, right, gotta feed the kid. I've never seen that happen as much as I'd love to.
I've done it, but that's just because I'm just like, you know what? Screw this. I don't give a shit where I'm at. Look here. Look, the kid needs to eat. Hi. Hi, how you guys doing? Great, wonderful. Kid's getting a meal.
And so
But it still amazes me how many people it offends
Mhm.
when someone pulls out their boob to feed the child.
Right. Yeah, it does. It does. It offends a lot of people.
well, and see,
But here's the question. Hold on. Let me kick it back to the question. Do we think that some content, as far as safe for work versus not safe for work, do we think that it's labeled wrong? Porn. Okay. Do we think that some things that have come out as content is labeled as porn and it's not pornographic?
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, and so for an example for me, and again bringing it back to the whole foot fetish thing, on Pinterest, on social media, different things like that. I mean, a foot isn't a sexual organ, right? I mean, everybody's got them. Some of them look nicer than others, and that can be said the same, as far as pornography goes. But
Right.
I mean, I've gotten notifications, content flagged for sexually explicit content, and it's just a foot. Nothing else. It's just a bare foot, and because they know that there's a fetish surrounding it, somebody can tag it and flag it as sexual content.
Yes.
And then
Yep.
the entity feels like they have to do something about it. And I feel like that's where we end up mislabeling a lot of stuff, and where a lot of that stuff just, it's ridiculous how far somebody will have to go to appease one person while pissing everybody else off. I mean, you can have a million
Right.
subscribers that say that's not bad. If one person complains about it,
It's bad.
Instagram's got to be like,
Mhm.
we can't deal with the bad publicity from one person, but we'll deal with the backlash of a million other people saying, what the hell's the problem? And I know a lot of
Well,
girls
and
on like Instagram get flagged all the time. Their accounts get flagged because some
Yep.
pious woman in Utah decides to, scroll through Instagram, finds, Dana Ham or Vicky Aisha, on her page, and it's just like, oh my God, somebody's posting that, flag it, and that
Yeah.
person will get their page shut down to their 4.8 million followers
Yeah.
because one person decided to have an issue.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have to deal with this on SafeWord itself, being on YouTube,
Yeah.
because there's certain things we can't say, there's certain topics that we can't touch. In fact, if you have a certain let's say degree of cleavage and it goes past a certain inch, that's suddenly pornographic.
Yep. We've had a couple videos pulled down because I'm sorry, I have big boobs. I was wearing a low cut shirt. I didn't realize it was because that was only half my boob. Like, really, I got the video. That wasn't even half. Like, that's the top meat. That's the top meat. Like, what? Yeah. So, I mean, we've had videos pulled down for that. We've had videos pulled down for things that we say. And so I'm going to kick this to Miss Callista here in just a second, because I want to know if she thinks that some things are labeled wrong. And then a question for you guys. So just on the other end of that. So go ahead, Miss Callista.
I do. I think that there's a disconnect happening. There is a lot of people being just too sensitive on on everything that's out there. It's just people just being, and I'm gonna keep repeating myself, y'all are too damn sensitive. And you just kind of need to grow up. It's out in the world. It's going to happen, and just kind of move on with it. But yes, there are things that are, just like Kane was saying, with feet that are sexualized. There's things with, breasts that are.
There's things with stuffed animals. Like that stuff will get banned too. And it's just like, it's a animal.
Yeah.
What?
Or a person belly button,
Right.
They're showing their midriff, it's ridiculous. It's just a lot of people in society are just too darn sensitive.
Right.
What if you're furry? Is that porn?
Right,
Like
and
you're
that's what
both
I
in
was
a
saying.
big.
Stuffed animals, furries, all those things, like that shouldn't be censored, but it is. Go ahead, Mr. Kim. What were you going to add to that?
Well, and I like how Knight threw that in there, like with furries. I mean, nothing's really revealing or anything. I mean, everybody kind of gets the gist. There's a certain innuendo surrounding that, but I mean, like, are we really gonna start categorizing innuendos as pornography? I mean, if as safe word, if we were to post a picture of a teddy bear, you know,
Mhm.
and just leave it at that, you know, it's like, oh, got a new teddy bear for the show, and
Wink.
you know, that's it. That's just the post. It won't get
Mhm.
flagged, but if you put hashtag furry on it, all of a sudden
Yep. It's going to be a problem.
it's an
It's going to
issue.
be a problem.
And I feel like,
Yep.
you know, when it comes to fetishes, I've always argued this, and it's something that like I really wanted to study and read up on a little bit. Was, do you think the advent of certain fetishes was because of like societal constraints on topless women? You know, things
Yeah.
that were viewed in sexual in nature. So it's like, well, if I can't see a boob, like, oh man, there's her armpit. You know what? I never really looked at armpits before, but I think armpits are sexy.
Well, and that's kind of what I was saying when I'm asking you, do you think that some content is labeled wrong? Because, I mean, think about where we were at even just a couple hundred years ago, right? You know, women covered up, an ankle being shown was something that turned people on because
That
you
was
didn't see anything. That was scandalous.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like we're still kind of holding on to some of those judgments and those moral compasses.
Well, and it's funny
Because
it's
we
like,
think it's
who do you
right and
think-
morale, and then we label it to today's, you know, freedom and freedom of speech and free the nipple and, you know, the slut walk. Like, come on, like, and we're still being so, I don't know, censored, labeling things, you know.
Well, and something that keeps coming up, and it's become kind of a joke, but I mean, I really hate comedy for the fact that, you know, like you can joke about something and it sounds funny, and then it just ends up being the butt of the joke instead of, you know, like, hey, let's actually sit down and think about this for a bit, because even though it was meant to be funny, it actually makes a whole lot of damn sense. A lot of comedians, a lot of people, you know, throw some humor in the fact that who really has a problem with sexually explicit material, because you can't base it on an age. You can't say, you know, like if you were born in the 60s, you have a problem with nudity, because there's a lot of, I mean, old men in nursing homes, that's not an issue. Nudity isn't an issue for them. My grandmother, I mean, rest her soul, she just passed away recently. I used to think she was the most morally, you know, virtuous person in the whole wide world until the day she was like, you should shower together to save water. And you know, something else might happen, and it's like, Grandma, whoa, what? And so it's like the older generations don't necessarily have this big of an issue. I feel like it becomes an issue when you start getting into mixed company. And so it's like, oh, somebody might have a problem with this, so let me nip it in the bud and have a problem with it first.
Right.
And report it or flag it or do something, because, and it's like, again, it comes down to that one person having an issue, and if that one person could just shut the fuck up, it wouldn't be as big of a problem. It's like you draw more attention to it having an issue than you would if, you know, you didn't. And Roy made a comment saying one of his friends put a picture of a Bible scripture or thing, and it was flagged on Facebook as unsafe. And it's funny because it's like you can't even get into the religious practices of it, because with the advent of all these different religions and Facebook bringing everybody together, you can't post a Bible pic, because then you might piss off a Satanist. You might piss off a Muslim. You might piss off somebody who practices a different religion. So even religion becomes unsafe at a certain point. Everybody's just too busy bickering over who's got the bigger issue that, I mean, really, do we have a problem?
Exactly. People who are really the most hateful and just negative are usually the loudest in the room, and that's what's unfortunate, is that they are really loud and the rest of us are just kind of like, whatever. I don't want to argue about it. Let's just whatever.
All right, so this is the question that I was going to add in here, okay? So on the other flip side of this, all right, we're in a society where we do have things where people are coming out and being like, what's wrong with sexual expression? What's wrong with sexually expressing yourself? Everyone does it. I came into this world nude. Why do I have to cover up? And maybe they want to do it from an artistic standpoint. Maybe they're turn people on and they like it. They're an exhibitionist, whatever. But here's the deal. Like, if you're like, let's say you're doing this for fun, you're an exhibitionist and you're putting stuff out there. Or let's say you're doing it for work and you're a sex worker, but you're trying to do it, like Kane said, very artistically, artistic nudes, right? When one person complains, and we can all kind of say something to this because we're all content creators. So as a content creator, do you think that after a while of people trying to say you're a slut, you're this, you're that, you're doing porn, that your opinion of you kind of wavers on what you were doing? Because I mean, like, even here on the show, we kind of are headed towards a sexual, expressive. Sometimes our videos get kind of sexy in nature, because of what we're talking about. So if we had a bunch of comments on there talking about, oh my gosh, like, you need to put on you put your shirt on, like, oh my, like, no, Kane, don't, you're being too sexy.
Pull up my neckline.
Yeah, like, would it eventually start changing, how you think about how you're presenting your content? Let's put it like that. And I'm going to kick it to Kane first since he's been here the longest.
Well, really, in your whole description of that, the only thing that came to mind was huge Game of Thrones fan. Tyrion, the imp, had a line in the first season where he says, never forget what you are, the world will not. Wear it like armor, and it will never be used to hurt you. And so I think if you, and I hate to say it like this, because I mean, a lot of people really go through it, and please know I'm not trying to throw shade, I'm really trying to empower you, even though this sounds really negative, it's a brittle spirit that gets damaged by the words of others. So I mean, if somebody calls you a slut enough times that you start to believe it in yourself, then I would argue the fact that you already had a moral conundrum in your head where you kind of thought that this wasn't okay, and somebody exploited that and made you rethink it. Because when it comes to the slut walk, when it comes to female empowerment and everything like that, you can't tell a nude woman who is that confident in herself that she's a slut, because she's either going to ignore you or take it in stride. So I feel like a lot of people have to take this in stride. For me, I take it in stride. You can call me a slut. You can call me whatever you want to call me. I don't really care. I do what I do, and I enjoy what I do. Other people enjoy what I do, and those are the people I'm marketing towards. So I'm sorry, I wasn't meant to be for everybody. So if I'm not for you, I apologize. Don't look my way anymore.
Right. Okay,
if you don't like it, I mean, like, we got a couple viewers in here right now. If they were like, I can't fucking stand Kane, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do about being me. You're the one still lost.
Right, exactly. All right, I love that. Stay true to who you are. Stay in your empowerment of who you are. So I'm gonna kick it to a girl, because sometimes it's like it's to be said. Because here's the deal: slut doesn't affect a dude, I don't think, as much. Like, sometimes guys will just take that and be like, yes, I'm a slut. Another notch on the freaking bedpost. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But for a woman, that doesn't necessarily always read true. So do you think that if you got, okay, you're new on the show, you got enough of the, oh, you're doing the show, you're a slut. Oh, God, you're just showing off your titties and fuck. Yeah. Would it affect who you are?
No, and that's only because I have the confidence in myself and I know who I am. Mm-hmm. I'm very comfortable with who I am in my body, and just with who I am as a being, as an adult. And it's funny because I have been slut shamed more by other women,
yeah,
than I have men. Now, I don't know if that's because the men tried to get with me and they're like, oh, you're so pretty,
But show me more.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, that stuff started in middle school. Like, the girls are just, they're mean and brutal. But the most negativity and everything that I got have been from other women trying to tear you down.
Well, and I'm going to piggyback on that, and I'm going to kick it tonight. So real quick, just so everybody knows, guys, women don't get dressed for you. We don't put on this makeup. We don't put on the face. No, we don't. We're worried about the chick over there that's going to have something to say, and I'm going to have to beat her ass later because I didn't put my eyeliner on right. You know what I'm saying? So it's literally a big thing that's wrapped around women. I don't know what the heck that's about.
Well, it's also unfortunate that we're sitting here, having to compete, with each other for, their crown when there's enough to go around.
There's enough to go around. Exactly. So, Mr. Knight, do you think, I'm going to repeat the question because we kind of went off on a tangent.
Yeah, we did.
Do you think that as a content creator, if somebody came at you enough and was like, yo, what you're doing is wrong, what you're doing is blah, 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 whatever word that would resonate with you, like slut, that would affect you, do you think that eventually it would affect what you're doing to create your content? Would you change it? Would you still be who you are?
Like if someone come up say, Knight, you're a man whore.
Oh, he'd take that in stride. He'd be like, yes, yes, yes.
There is an unfortunate caveat about that because ultimately you are catering to an audience.
An audience, yep.
So if the audience has a particular perspective about what you're creating and how you're presenting it, you kind of have to look back and say, okay, am I giving this content out the way I want? Is it coming out the way I want? And you can look back and be like, all right, if it is, if it isn't, some people, like a lot of right-wing bloggers and a lot right-wing content creators, they're being called racist, for example. But is what they're saying really racist? Or it just happens to be a difference of opinion that you don't like?
Right.
So are they going to edit their content and be like, oh, they called me racist, so I can't talk about, I can't talk about Trump, I can't talk about Republicans, or else I'll be, or you just, be like, you know what? Fine. If that's what you consider racist, I'm racist. If I say something like, hey, can we take the skirts off, please? And then now I'm transphobic. Am I going to be like, okay, now I can't say certain things and I can't breach certain topics? Or is it just going to be, then you know what? You're going to call me transphobic. All right, fine. So I think we have to look at it in that sense. Am I actually doing something that it can be misinterpreted, or are people just being overly sensitive?
Well, and I want to add on to that because I do have a separate platform that I post on that I cannot mention here. Nice little platform that I post on. And I don't necessarily think that just because, and that's why I kind of asked the question about porn. I don't think that just because you're expressing yourself that it deserves a label of negativity or positivity for that matter. Just respect the art that's coming out. You know what I'm saying? And as a content creator, you do actually look at those things, or at least I know I do. Because like you said, you're marketing towards a certain group of people. So, you get feedback and you're like, ooh, let me reset this. Or maybe I'm getting away from my original idea. Maybe I'm going too much this direction because everybody's doing it, like that kind of thing. But I don't think that there should be a label around it. I don't think that someone should be shamed for what they're doing. Maybe ask the person why they're doing it.
Yeah. Have that conversation. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do, what you say, you're going to upset someone.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kane. I saw you chomping at the bit. Go ahead.
I've had a couple things. I've lost a couple. I was just going to say, like, as far as, like the slut shaming thing goes, I remember this joke that we used to throw out all the time as guys. So, again, going back, a little callback to the, like, like the things we say to our guy friends versus, like how we approach women. So there was this joke that guys in their inner circles have with each other where it's, do you know what the difference between a slut and a bitch is?
Sluts never get cold in the winter.
A slut will sleep with everyone at the party. A bitch sleeps with everyone but you.
But you.
Okay, I heard that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason why that came to mind was I'm just laughing at the fact that there's so much negativity and everything going around. And I mean, if you really, really, really wanted to, do the research, dig deep and everything, you'll find that one person who has the issue. And just because they're loud, they gather a following. And again, just calling back to a couple of different things. It's not necessarily within an age category. It's not necessarily within, a religious category. It's just, some people like people and some people don't. Some people like to stir the pot. Some people like to let the dirt settle. And unfortunately, with, social media and everything being what it is today, too many people have a voice to have an issue. and too many enterprises decide that those single voices have more weight than the masses. And like having these different platforms, having different things where you can express yourself. I never understood why people, like just have a damn problem when it's like, how do you know in the first place? Like, where did you see me? Like, you Googled me, you subscribed, you re-upped, you did this, you did something to find this out. All right.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you're that, set in your beliefs, like for me, my social media, I follow enough pages where social media, the algorithm knows what I want to see and posts it.
Yeah.
Right. So nobody's coming across me by accident.
Mhm.
But actually, what a lot of times what happens is they'll see something, a retweet or a repost based on someone that did watch your content. They didn't, but they'll still remark on it.
Right. Yep.
The
And
argument
according
stands
to that
that
opinion.
the argument stands that like if you really want to get into like the mathematical equations of all of it and the algorithms, that's what my friends view doesn't necessarily pop up on everybody else's feed unless they viewed something else similar. Like there has to be a common hashtag. There has to be a common, moniker somewhere in there that this kind of material is just like, hey, we noticed your friends, look at this kind of material, and you view this kind of material. Somewhere in there, those two lines crossed, and the algorithm decided to put, that over there. And just because it came across, I mean, you can thumbs down it, you can not like it, you can pass it over. You don't have to stop and bitch.
Right. Very true. Very true. Move on with your life. Why do you have so much time to make a comment on somebody else's content?
Exactly.
Like, unless you got something positive to put out there in the world,
and move on.
Like, I want to make a good point on that because Jamila Jamil, she's playing Titania in the She-Hulk right now, right? So she's an ally of or she would like to say she's an ally of the LGBT plus QIA community.
Yeah.
So she was having some conversations with people on Twitter, and she misgendered somebody. And they came at her, right?
Yeah.
And she apologized. Right? Yeah. Yeah. And she apologized. She said, I'm sorry, I'll try to do better. And they're like, all you had to do is look at her bio. And she's like, all right, first of all, I'm a public figure, aka I'm a celebrity, and I don't have time to look at all these people's bios that I'm talking to. And they still gave her crap for it.
Oh, geez.
They still gave her crap. She not only did she apologize and said, hey, I'll try and do better, but they're like, well, if you don't take the extra steps, you don't care, and there's no winning.
There's no such thing as an accident. There's no such thing as making a mistake. And I'm sorry, as people, we need to make mistakes in order to make good decisions, to learn from our mistakes, to know what the hell to do. Like the fact that we can't apologize anymore or go, oh, my bad, that offended you. Like I had no intentions of offending you. How should I put it? And people can still be mad. I mean, I have family members that use they, them, him, I, us, and it's really hard because I was an English major. So what? I'm sorry. You know what? I really honestly did not mean to offend you. I want to use us. I want to use. Oh,
you're doing it intentionally. If you're not doing that, then you're doing it intentionally. I'm like, come on, man.
Right. And it's like it just slides. And I don't know if I'm feeling like old or something because I feel like one of those, 60-year-old women or men that's like, what? You can't say that word anymore? That's not okay. Like,
back in my day, we can apologize.
Yeah. So it's a little confusing. So moving on though, real quick. Okay, go ahead, Kink. You had something to add to that?
It's like I said earlier. It's like what happens to the good old days of offending one person?
Right. So we got a lot of show to move through here tonight because I haven't even gotten into Kane's question. I got one more question before I kick it off. All right. So this is going to be a pretty easy one because we're all content creators. Okay, so think of it from a content creator's perspective. Think of it from what you view. When you're viewing social media, that kind of thing. So do you think that there's a double standard when it comes to like big marketing, being able to post something that could necessarily be not safe for work, but they put it up as an ad versus, the majority of society or content creators? Do you think that there's more leeway when you have more money to put something more sexual in nature to get a marketing brand off versus?
Yes, money speaks volumes. And it's ridiculous that just because, Alpha has more money than Joe over here, that they can get away with whatever it is that they want to. They can put whatever out and feed the universe with all this propaganda, garbage, sexual content, or whatever, it may be, their message may be. And it's okay.
Yeah.
You're just going to just kind of shove it on down and just, take it all in. But Joe couldn't put that up because, one, he doesn't have enough money, can't even compete for the
enough followers.
For the advertising or anything, because advertising's expensive.
Yeah.
So it's unfair. There's an unfair bias happening. So
what do you think, Mr. Knight? And then I'm gonna kick it to Kane because Kane's been on the show the longest.
There's in television they have a practice and standards department which determines how many times you could say a curse word, how many times you could have something of sexual content, and there's a lot when it comes to sexual content. They pretty much stick to the letter when it like commercials, advertising, marketing campaigns. There's pretty much a standard that they follow because that's the one that'll get you dinged. But on the other social issues, they continue to push the button. There'll be plenty of racist ads, plenty of ads that attack other people and minorities and things of this nature that can make it through. When they had a kid wearing a sweater that said, coolest monkey in the jungle, and they thought it was cute, but everybody came out and was like, oh, what's that supposed to be about?
Yeah.
So they, or when the ad, when it's like, oh, our soap is so great, and here's a guy, a woman, she washes with the soap and now she's white.
I'm gonna piggyback on that one. I absolutely love how we've gone back to the 80s with these AIDS commercials and the medication. Because why is it that everybody on the commercial is black and a gay man? And they're like, I have AIDS. I took the suppressant. Now I don't have to give it to my
saw it. I was like, yeah, this is great. This is
in this freaking ad at all.
Like, this looks
they're all black and gay. And I'm just like,
this looks like a certain neighborhood in San Francisco. What's going on here?
Okay. All right, Mr. K, what you got to add to that?
Nothing. I think you guys covered it. I mean, everything I was gonna say, you guys have already really touched on. I mean, yeah, like the more money you have, the louder you can be, and it's funny because, just like what you said, I mean, when you have enough followers or if you have enough money in the account, you have more leeway to be more eccentric, more explicit, and everything, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense where, it almost gets to a point where you're silencing a majority by not allowing them to have the same voice and the same opinion as another human being who just so happens to have, more privileges than another. And I don't know, it's a flawed system, and I'll be the first one to, call it out every single time. There's a certain measure of double standards where at a certain point, when do the people that keep getting silenced, when does the silent majority all of a sudden say enough?
Right. Well, and I've got a really great example that I'm going to add to this, okay? This is kind of why I brought this up. All right. So, we here at SafeWord have a YouTube. We here at SafeWord talk about sex and sexually expressive things for sexual education purposes, right? Okay, so anything that we put out, it's not really that racy. It's literally safe for work or lesser than, okay? You're not seeing nothing. Okay. We've had videos monetized, and have ads running on them. Okay. And I've had a video where there's ads running on the video, and it's some sexy girl jumping into a pool, and she comes out with a vibrator, and she's like, and and you get the idea because there's all these, glossy effects happening, and she's and then my page, that same video gets pulled down a week later because it's too sexually explicit.
Well,
but you just ran ads that were 10 times worse than anything I just put out. And not to mention that, kids watch YouTube, okay? So you're putting all these ads on the... But they're not allowed to watch my page where they're actually going to get some education. You just want them to watch the sexy girl with the vibrator in the pool?
It's funny that you bring that up because my nephew has a little tablet and like he watches YouTube videos and everything on there, and so the YouTube video, it's on YouTube Kids, right? There's a separate little thing where it's like YouTube Kids, and they will play an ad for an R-rated movie. They didn't sign on for that. They didn't have to, click I'm over 18 or anything.
They didn't have to make an adult content video.
So we had to, censor our page and say, like you had to be 18, you have to prove you're 18, you just have to click, anything younger than 2000, older than 2000 to watch our content.
What is up with that? Like, I can't do math. Well, let me put in this date. I know. I put in like 2 years ago. I can't get in. Like, what?
Right. Like, what? Yeah, you just add. We here at SafeWord. I'm going to condone if you ain't 18, don't do it. All right. I know Mr. K got some questions. Those are really great questions. Thank you guys for answering. Wow.
Just kind of like leading into what we've already been talking about. I mean, I think we've already established that we are censored as a society, but do you think that we are too censored as a society? And I'm gonna kick this to the ladies first.
Ooh, okay. Which one? Which one?
To the ladies, whichever one. Flip a coin.
The one in the chair.
We're both in a chair. I guess we answer at the same time. No, go ahead, Ms. Close, to answer that one. Do you think we're too censored as a society?
I do. I think that there's still too many naysayers out there that are still very loud and depicting what is okay. As far as women, what we can wear, what is okay for society to be acceptable for like work attire or God forbid, because I'm always been a busty lady, so if my dress here, if it gets a little short, if I'm bending over or whatever, then
being human,
or I'm constantly having to adjust myself, I'm the jerk that, should have planned for that.
Right.
And
it's just something different.
Exactly. I should have covered up. I should have worn my turtleneck or something. But we are still overly sensitive, overly... What are we talking about? Okay.
Are we too censored as a society?
I'm kidding. I promise it's just water in the cup.
This reminds me of last week when we did our role play.
Right, what are we talking about?
Water. No, we are overly censored still. I would love to go to Europe where, everything is okay, because the human body is beautiful.
Beautiful.
It really is. And me as a straight female, I still find the woman form just to be very gorgeous, intriguing, very pretty. I actually have, half naked women pictured in my room, and I'm sure
not safe for work. Not safe for work.
Does it offend you whenever we have meetings? You're just gonna have to pull your big boy panties up and be okay with it.
You know why he's offended? Girl, this is why he's offended. Because he can't see the boobies while we're in meetings. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're giving him like belly button and below, and he's like, what do I do with that?
So yes, I do believe you.
And you already know what I think, because here's the deal. I run a kink show that is getting banned for putting out less explicit stuff than the freaking ads that are on my videos. Yes, we're too censored as a society. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think even specifically American society kind of overdoes it on the censorship. Well, it doesn't even have to be sexually explicit material. It just comes down to being able to say something without government censorship, because that's what it's about, right?
Right. That or being canceled.
Yeah, it's cancer culture. Cancel culture right now.
Yeah. So in lieu of government, that's the thing. People are taking up the mantle of censors. They want to be, China. They want to be the ones who are the gatekeepers all of a sudden. And I think if we bring it down to, okay, fine, people can say what they want, right? And then it's up to the people in your life, your family, your parents, to then have that conversation with you. Hey, this guy said this about me. No, son, this is not true. That's true. Or,
Right.
or hey, look at this. This is the truth about the situation. Look at this article. That's the truth about it. And then we can go back to learning
Having a
and being
conversation
informed.
around it. Right.
There you go.
Have a conversation around it.
I think more education really does. You're worried about your children going out there, monkey see, monkey do type of deal. But really, you need to have that conversation around the dinner table and really check in with your child and just being able to communicate, hey, this is what the human body is. This is what it does. This is what sex is. And it's not a bad thing. Just be responsible about it.
Yep. I have to say it was really open in my household. I had a dumb mama.
I'm sure.
I had a dumb mama. It was open. It was open. Look, this is how you whoop a girl. This is how you whoop a boy. All right, it's different.
You want to turn your wrist a little bit
Yeah,
like this.
you
No, honey, ain't
Aurora,
doing it right.
you ain't holding that flogger right. Look, I'm going to take the whole flogger away from you. You ain't going to play with it no more. Wait, Mom. Wait, what? Yeah.
So forgive me, but I actually have quite a bit to throw out as far as this topic and this question is concerned.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
first and foremost, I would like to say that when it comes to censorship, I think that censorship is a farce. I think it's entirely up to whoever has, again, coming down to who has the money to say what can and can't be shown. And I hearken back to, again, comedians who originally threw out the concept of when the LGBTQ movement first started, or when it started gaining, a lot of popularity, as far as, like where gay weddings could go to have their cakes made, or, like where, what venues would allow, same-sex couples to be wed in their establishment. They talked about the sanctity of marriage, and then, like they talked about it on the 7 o'clock news, and then at 8, The Bachelor came on. So it's like, do we really give a shit about the sanctity of marriage when you literally have a reality show about, defiling the sanctity of marriage? And then,
Like mail order wife. It's
crazy.
When it comes to censorship, and I think they tried to make it about inclusion, where they started saying, like, oh, well, if all you're going to show is like skinny, twig thin models, if every body is beautiful. And so they started adding, more, they started out with the plus size models. And then the larger women, started
Big is
having,
beautiful. They had that big is beautiful movement. Yeah.
The main topic, the main idea behind it, and this is where I thought it was fucking hilarious, is every body is sexy, but don't over-sexualize them. You're over-sexualizing and marginalizing a very, very specific group of women, and all these other women exist. And so it's almost as if the message was misconstrued as not to be too sexually advancing on, people on tens, and start being, more open to the ones and twos. And so it's like, did we really care about, sexualizing women, or did we really just want to be more inclusive? But you're putting it under the guise of censorship, saying that, everybody deserves to be sexualized.
But these ones and twos are still being sexualized. They're just not being broadcasted about it.
Well, and they're not being sexualized by the right. For them, the right person. Yeah. So they want to open up the borders so that, everyone's looking. You have to look at me because even if I'm not your type, you have to look at me,
And that's what's funny, because it's like, is it really exciting a change then?
Right.
I mean,
yeah, it's more like a force change.
You're putting it out there, and I'm sorry to say, but the more you try to be inclusive, the less you're actually gaining traction in the movement, because, I mean, the people that had a specific type to begin with, you're not influencing them any differently by showing them different body types. They still had a type. And so really all you're doing is checking a box by, including this and saying everybody has to find this sexy. Well, nobody can really bitch about it, so I guess, point taken, but still, it's not inciting the change that you want to see. George Clooney isn't all of a sudden gonna, find the 1,000-pound sisters attractive because you told him to. I mean, you can put it out there. You could make sure that's the only thing you can watch on television, but you're not going to change his overall perspective. You're not going to change his mind. And so, I mean, are you really inciting a change, or are you just, beating a dead
The part of the problem is calling George Clooney, for example, phobic if he doesn't like that style.
Exactly.
So
No. Yo, that's a great point, because they did that to Genuine. When Genuine, like, he came out probably a couple years ago and was like, did like a remake of one of his songs or whatever. So he was all over the place, and then I think he was like on Big Brother or something like that, one of those reality shows. Anyways, he was on an interview, and one of the interviewers asked him about if he would ever get down with a transvestite, and he was like, absolutely not. Nope, I'm sorry, that's just not my thing. And they were like, well, what if it was completely, that person went through a sex change. It is all legit. Everything is good. She looks banging. She wants you. He's like, if I knew ahead of time that she was a man before, I couldn't get down with her. And Genuine got his fucking ass reamed all over the dang internet, all over the news. I was just like, but that's his personal preference.
Yeah, like, he's the jerk because
because you don't want to sleep with a transvestite. Like, isn't that that's not what you're attracted to? That's okay. So that's not something that you want. Like, where is it that now all of a sudden you have to be okay with everything, and you better want it too? And the moment you don't, it's a problem.
Here's the thing. That's something they have to get used to. And I'll say this as a black man, okay? Mm-hmm. There were white girls that were like, sorry, I can't mess with you because you're black. And guess what? I mean, I can call them racist. I can just be like, that's not their preference.
That's not their preference. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they weren't being dicks about it. Just like, don't do it for me.
Y'all need to get comfortable.
All right. So on the same topic, on the same conversation, do we think that censorship is important?
Ooh,
Night.
Ooh, that's
in some cases. In some cases, I was saying. In some cases, because some people like Alex Jones
need a censor.
he was irresponsible. He was irresponsible with what he said and what he did, and there needs to be some repercussions for that. Now, who are gonna be the censors? That's where we're in a problem now. Is it gonna be the big tech? Because now we have people getting kicked off of YouTube and Twitch for no reason.
Right. Yep.
Just because the admin don't like you.
Yep. You were gonna say something.
Well, I was just gonna say that people just need to have manners, and just be responsible with what they say, and know that once you do say it, you can't take it back. Yeah, you can say, I'm sorry, but as long as you just don't go out and continually repeat it, you actually have to mean that you're sorry and just don't do it again. Yeah. So there's a certain responsibility that you have to have with never intentionally hurt someone. That's the type. That's pretty much it. Just
being irresponsible with the information. I mean, you could have extreme ideas. That's how a lot of movements start. That's how a lot of people get inspired. But just don't be irresponsible with the information.
Exactly.
All right, so I'm gonna add something on this, and I always do when we talk about communication and education. All right, now look here. I think censorship is important until we further educate ourselves. Because here's the deal: if you're educated, you can't get that offended. You just really can't. Like, if you really do your research on some of these things that are censored, and you're comfortable within your own skin, and you know who the heck that comes with education. That comes with being taught who you are. That comes with being taught, hey, don't let someone sway your opinion. That comes, and hey, just because you see something doesn't mean you go out and do it. Just like I asked a question on what you consider porn. So there's some very extreme porn out there that if a child that wasn't educated or explained, hey, porn is put out there for a visual effect, not necessarily what women or men like in the bedroom. Sometimes, yeah, great, but this is not the majority. So if you see something like a fisting video and it's extreme, right? You, as a parent, I would hope you look at your child if they ran into something like that, or even if they didn't, before they run into something like, be like, look, porn is not everything that it's caught up, made up to be. Don't use that as your sexual reference in your Bible and your guide to go into the bedroom. Like, that's just not okay. So until we're further educated as a society, yeah, I think censorship is important, because there's a lot of children or younger people. I'm not even going to say children because there's people that are 19, 20, 21 that didn't get the proper education. And so then they see these things now because they're legal, censorship's off, they can choose to see it or not, and they are guided by it instead of really understanding what they're looking at. So yeah,
Well, here's
I
a
think
question. Would you ban Mein Kampf?
Mein Kampf?
Hitler's book.
What the heck is that?
That is the book that Hitler wrote.
Oh. And see, I'm an extreme thought process on these kinds of things because I believe that everybody deserves to formulate their own opinion. But once again, that comes with education behind it. So no, I wouldn't ban it because I believe that there's people that can grasp something from it. Doesn't necessarily mean negative. You know what I mean? They can flip it, twist it,
All right.
whatever.
I also think it's important to know your history and everything as well.
Right.
And so that way, history finds a way of repeating itself, especially to those who are uneducated.
Yeah.
All right. So I got a mic drop for you guys.
Okay.
All right. I do not think. Again, I stand firm. I'm digging my heels in. Censorship is a farce. I think censorship only exists to make lazy parents.
Yeah. Yep.
Censorship makes parents lazy.
Yep.
Back in the day,
Someone else do your job for you.
Back in the day, they banned baseball players from being able to chew tobacco on the field because they said they were idolized by children, and it forced children to take up chewing tobacco because their idols did it. And so they censored tobacco use.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. You remember them bubblegum
The bubble yum with the
guy.
guy with the thing in his cheek? Yeah, they had to pull all those off the shelf.
Yep.
So, as far as censorship goes, lazy parenting. Nudity granted a film a rated R rating much sooner, almost 2 decades before tobacco use made it onto the R rating list.
Yep, because they used to be, Joe Cool was a thing.
Restaurants, if you're 25 or not even 25, if you're 30 and younger, then you might not know this, but back in the day, restaurants used to have 2 sections, smoking and non-smoking.
And non-smoking. The airplane too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the airplane. Yeah,
And
that's
so
right.
there was censorship happened, and all of a sudden it's like these things are no longer acceptable. And I think, and again, my humble opinion is that censorship makes parents lazy. You're not wanting to talk to your kids about these things. You're not wanting to educate, or form the younger generations to think for themselves. You'd rather, cherry pick what they're able to see. And again, I call it a farce because you're not cherry picking shit. You're not stopping a damn thing. You're not.
Well, and that's what I was just going to say. They're going to see it, like, it almost makes it more enticing because there's a censorship label on it.
Well, even without a censorship label on it, you're talking about if you really wanted to be, you'd have to raise a child in a convent or a commune to dictate every single little scrap of information they take in order to form them into the society that censorship claims to have under control.
Oh, yeah.
Because again, harkening back to the earlier conversation, we're on a YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel. We had to set ours to 18 and over, right? So again, not to throw a whole bunch of misinformation out there or teach you guys how to do something that you already probably know how to, but again, it's the censorship to where I can't say all you have to do is scroll a little bit lower on that year wheel to be able to watch something. You don't really give a shit about censorship if you're not asking for photo ID verification, 2-3 days wait list to view this content. If all you're doing is a little scroll wheel so you can pick the year, you're not censoring anything. You're not talking to your children because everybody goes to school. Everybody has friends. You're not able to, peer pressure's a motherfucker, and that's always been a popular topic where. Students, kids, up to a certain age are always going to be privy to things that they probably shouldn't see. And as a parent, you wish you could, censor from your child. And as a parent, you are, but they're not getting that information because you're not teaching it to them. They're just going to hear it from somewhere else. And my mother always had this thing that she told me when I was, coming into my teenage years, where she said, "I don't care if you want to try drugs, try them with me. Don't do them with your dumbass friends. If you want a beer, I'll give you a beer, but don't go drinking with your dumbass friends." And I never understood that. Like, I ain't drinking with my mom. No, that sounds stupid. Until I started drinking with some friends, and all of a sudden it was just like, oh wait, this was
You're
a
stupid.
damn bad idea.
Yeah.
And
Drinking with your mom gets crazy though. Yes.
Yo,
We went to
I
high
had
school
too.
together,
I
and
had a beer with my
I'm
mom.
saying,
20 minutes later, she was teaching me how to play quarters. So
Yeah.
No, so just I want to talk about where this started. I think this is the pivotal moment in our society. 2004 Super Bowl, I think it was 38,
I remember that.
right? Halftime show. Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake.
Yep.
This was the moment. Now I want you to go back. This is homework for you guys in the chat. Go back and watch if you could find videos of that. Watch what happens. It was intentional. It wasn't an accident.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It was intentional.
He actually came out
What are you talking
the other
about?
day.
The media wouldn't lie to us.
It actually came out in the news the other day because Janet said something. This story resurfaced just like last month, and Janet came out and was like, it was completely intentional, completely and totally intentional. And so Justin kept denying it. He was like, all right, look, so I was put up to it. I had to do it. Like, let's just leave it at that. And I was like,
That was, I mean, you could look back. It goes, I will have you naked by the end of this song. Boop. There it
and
was.
she had a nipple pasty on.
Yeah, that was definitely
Not even a
planned
nipple
for.
pasty.
Yep.
She had a piercing. Her nipples are pierced. There was a big ass star nipple piercing on her nipple. Okay?
Yep.
Sun and
And
star.
that moment was, I think, the start of the of this crazy slide of censorship. I
Right.
think that was the
Right.
moment.
Well, and so just to kind
It
of
was also a moment for teenagers everywhere.
Mhm. Yep. Every teenager everywhere was just like, yes.
and here's just to piggyback off of that, like just the decline of, really giving a shit about censorship, where you can't tell me that you care about censorship when you're not, again, age verifying if you can listen to explicit music on YouTube, on Amazon Prime Music, on Spotify, on iTunes, on any music streaming platform. I mean, I've never seen, again, like I said, my nephew has a little tablet, and if he wants to look up a song on YouTube, it doesn't necessarily, separate. And it was just like, oh, because your profile is set to this age, we're only going to show you the clean version. No, hell no. It says dirty in parentheses, explicit in parentheses, and they're going to listen to the
Live crew.
And I know a lot of parents are sitting out there saying, I'll be damned if Lil Nas X is going to teach my kid about sex before I do. I'll be damned if my kid's going to learn about, how to treat women from rap songs before I tell him what's right. I'll be damned if my daughter's going to listen to country music and then end up, hating men because a lot of female country artists, talk about being cheated on, Carrie Underwood's music, like a lot of that stuff. I mean, music forms society. And so if you're not going to censor that, but you're going to censor what's seen on local programming, I mean, you don't really care. It's like, really, this whole damn episode can be called "You Don't Really Care."
You don't really care.
Do they really give a shit? It all comes down to, it's just like, I think the difference between safe for work and not safe for work is, can somebody bitch about it and get something free from the company? Is the company held liable for, like, oh, I saw one of your workers, which is apparently representative of your entire fucking franchise, viewing something not safe for work, I want a free car.
Mm-hmm.
And because the company has to sit there and argue with themselves, like, oh wait, do we give in to this? Do we not? If we don't, this will happen. Give them a free car and fire that guy.
Yep.
Again, do we really care? I'm gonna stop right there because then I'm gonna turn into Alex Jones.
Yeah.
No.
Well, moving right along. You have another question for us, Kane?
You're not gonna get sued for that much.
Well, and just like, again, I mean, I think we kind of already, I was going to ask, like, do you think censorship works? And I think, with our entire conversation.
Why don't we hash that out?
Again, do they really care?
Asked and answered.
All right.
Got that. in the bag.
So, going back to, safe for work, not safe for work, porn. What do you label as porn? I mean, I put this question out there because I feel like a lot of people would like to know, but I mean, if you don't, after watching, us for an hour and 44 minutes, I'm pretty sure you kind of already get a good junction on this answer that I'm about to question here, this query.
Really?
Could you be with someone who watches porn? Knight, I'm gonna kick it to you because the girls froze up on us. Could you be with somebody who watches porn?
I can't be with somebody that watches boring porn. Let's just say that. None of that. None of this Twilight 50 Shades nonsense. All right. You better be in the right category on the hub if I'm with you. I'm just saying.
My gosh. Oh my god. So the question was, because we froze there for a second. What was the question, Kane?
Could you
We
be
heard
with
nothing.
someone who watches or views porn?
Ooh, could I be with some? I'm gonna let Calista take this one first because she knew.
Yes, I can.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And she's like, yes, I can.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna leave it
You
right
know
there.
what? Both. I mean, obviously, both of y'all are on the boat. So let me ask you a question. Because you have, I'm sure you have friends or no females.
I think we're still on me, good sir.
No, I'm asking you a question.
What you want?
I'm asking you a question.
It's just water.
I'm trying to answer Kane's question.
Let me answer that one first. Dang it, Night.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. We just give you a shake. Go ahead.
Because you already said no. It's like you're like no, I could definitely be. But you hopefully know girls who said, you know what, if my boyfriend watching porn, we're done. We're done. It's not happening. Why is that a thing? Why is that what? I don't understand.
Don't be. He's watching porn anyway, so
Right.
It's better to have that open line of communication and like, hey, hon, what kind of porn are you watching today? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What color hair she got? What flavor? What's the flavor of the week this week?
Well, and here's part of why a lot of women that have those issues. Either there's something lacking within the relationship that they're not receiving, so they feel like they're giving that you are giving more attention or attracted to more this woman outside of your relationship. So there's a jealousy factor that plays into effect, or there's insecurities within that woman.
Yeah.
Usually. Okay. Usually. Not all the time. Usually might be a moral conundrum, whatever. But for me personally, yeah, we need to watch porn together. Like, what the heck? How am I supposed to know what you're into and stuff? Like, I want to see what gets you off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That can also be fun, and you can use that for pointers, I think. But I'd much rather that my partner watch porn than out there performing
with someone else. Exactly.
So if that's what it takes for them to get off and get, because, I might have a headache that week,
Yeah. Or shoot, get turned on, go watch your porn, and then maybe, tomorrow, because you watched that spicy little something, we want to try that? I don't even got to watch it with you. Want to try that?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so wait, this is a great big question for the guys. Come on now, y'all got to ask.
We answered when you were frozen.
Frozen. Darn, well, I didn't hear it. Could you be with someone that watches porn?
It was an unequivocal yes, and it better be interesting. It better be interesting.
All right, cool. Go. Did we answer that question right, Kane? We do good?
Yeah, you did good. Could I be with somebody who watches? I couldn't be with somebody who didn't watch porn. Like,
there we go.
Honestly, it's just human nature. I mean, you're gonna be curious. I mean, you've heard this entire conversation. Like I said, we've been going at it for almost 2 hours now, and I think I've made it abundantly clear that it's like, if you're not gonna be into porn, if you're gonna shy away from it, or if you're gonna get upset by it, then we're incompatible. It's not gonna work out. Back in my marriage, I'm a widower, so in my marriage, I was completely and 100% faithful. I still viewed porn, but it wasn't something like, that porn was just fun to watch, and as, I don't know what it was, like, I guess being a teenager and getting away with something was almost fun. It was like, can't rob a bank, can't rob a liquor store or anything like that, can't do bad things, but trying to get away with porn was as far as, like, living on the edge as I needed to be in that relationship. So again, if it comes down to a person saying like, "Oh, you can't view pornography," I'm like, "All right, check please, we're done," because that's gonna happen whether you want it to or not. So if you're accepting of it, I'm still gonna try and hide it because again, I like thinking that I'm getting away with something. So
Hmm.
Well, this I'm thinking it's probably similar to what Calista was saying before because I know someone who doesn't watch porn, and
Hmm.
I don't understand why.
Right.
And I think it's along the same veins as someone who doesn't masturbate in the same sense that they just figured they don't have to. So that was her
Right.
argument too. It's like, well, I don't need to. If I feel something, I'll just go to my boyfriend.
Find
Like,
someone. Yeah, I'll go find someone.
but I'm like,
Well, sometimes it's
ah.
just fun to watch it by yourself, and hey.
But that's the thing. Like, what's the
Figure out-
purpose? Is the end purpose that to pleasure yourself, or can you watch porn without?
Sometimes. Sometimes. Yes.
No. Not always.
Yes.
Because as someone who doesn't masturbate, but watches porn,
Ooh.
um,
Interesting.
I don't. I just kind of close my eyes and have that vision in my head, and I'm good. Or I'm calling someone.
Or I'm calling
Yeah,
someone.
I'm calling
This is
someone.
done.
I don't feel the need to touch myself or pleasure myself. I can just close my eyes and play out that whole scenario of what I want to happen in my mind, and I'm good.
Right. Yep. Yep. And so that kind of go ahead.
Are you having a glitch?
I know. Like, hold on, that's like. Wait, hold up.
now I was trying to figure out how you watch porn with your eyes closed.
I watch it and then I close my eyes.
All right, so have you or would you watch porn with a partner? I'm gonna kick this to Callista because I feel like this will be the culmination of the
of the sentence of your point here.
Yes.
He's like, yes.
I have. And it was a lot of fun. We did what was being done, or it just kind of got us in the mood.
Right.
So, yes.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And I do it again.
I'll answer next since I'm in the square too. Yes. And it's a requirement. I'm sorry, we need to watch porn together. Yes, we do. Because like Miss Calista said, it's either gets you in the mood, you find out what that person is into, or vice versa. You guys can switch off. Sometimes it can be, something fun, sometimes it can be something more educational, sometimes it can be something really sexy. Just it really depends on the mood. But I mean, sex is supposed to be fun, so why wouldn't you enjoy something that someone else, your partner, is enjoying as well? Even if you're just watching that person watch porn to pleasure themselves. I've done that one too. And I'm not watching the porn, I'm watching you. So yeah.
You ain't frozen, bro.
No. I thought we were gonna change it up a bit and have you answer it and I can finish off. And then go back to you. Yeah, I have, but I tend not to because my tastes are a bit eclectic. And to be honest, some things are just a little too slow for me. So, when it comes to just like, not feeling it. So, and then what I like, they're like, like my search terms might include Czech dungeon or Russian mature, So,
right.
We're watching different channels. Let's say that.
We're watching different channels, so it's not something that you're into. I see. You thought everybody was gonna have the same answer.
So
Knight's answer did kind of surprise me. I really thought you'd be a little bit more into it with the partner. I don't know why.
I'd love to, but it's too, it's lame. It's boring.
You want to watch the story, and I want to watch the.
You know what I mean? It's like what is like if it has music.
Fast forward and get to the part already.
If it has music, I'm done. Music, I'm done.
Forget it. All right, Kane, you have not answered this question. Go ahead and answer the question.
I'm sorry, that's all we got for tonight, everybody. No, I'm sorry. So yeah, I have watched porn with a partner, and so I've got a couple of gems for you guys. All right, so this is first time I watched porn with a partner. I found out a little bit more about the porn industry than I had known before, such as that there are scenes in there where there's a cut and you don't realize it. All right. So if you look at the blooper, like you can go on any of the popular, like porn networks and look up bloopers, look up outtakes, and see, exactly like behind the scenes of, like those sexy scenes. And what a lot of people don't realize, and something that I found out very embarrassingly, is that there's fluffers. Dude doesn't always stay erect throughout the entire scene. So trying to keep up with Johnny Sins was a real bitch, and I could not do it. All right, so it's a 43-minute scene that I don't know how he was hitting it from the back so damn long, because I didn't make it half that time before I was just like, yo, wait, well,
we're done.
For the last 30 seconds, we're at the money shot at the 15-minute mark. Sorry, girl. Like, So, that was my first experience. Second experience was a lot similar to Knight's, where I found out that my taste in specific videos was not necessarily, in line with what my partner had in mind. And that ended up being, it started off as like, oh, this is going to be hot, this is going to be good, this is going to be great. Like, all right, well, show me what you want, show me what you usually watch. And I thought she meant that literally. And so I did, and she was like, the fuck? So it wasn't anything like terrible or anything, but it started out with a foot job. And she was out with it, and it was like, oh, well, what a shame. So.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah. But reading one last comment, and then I think that's all we had for tonight, unless anybody else had anything to throw out there.
I've got one real quick question, since we are talking about porn, and I just wanted to throw this one out there because we pretty much touched on everything tonight. But here's a good question. Would any of you, okay, so we've all admitted to watching porn, we watch it with our partner. Would any of you, we also create some SFW, NSFW content. Would you ever date a porn star? And I'm going to kick it to Callista first.
I
I never stop smiling.
Sit next to me, girl.
I don't know that I can.
And why or why not?
Well, because sorry, I know I am kind of processing. So I don't think I can, because I know that that's that person's job. I know that's not considered cheating, and a lot of porn makers can have healthy, strong relationships and bonds with their partner and everything. But I don't think I would be able to get beyond that, as far as
they're sleeping with someone else.
They just were in another person, and just I don't that doesn't work for me. I need to know that I am the only person that gets to see you naked, fully naked. I'm the only person that I'm the only person that you're gonna be inside of that night. So for me, that doesn't work for me. So
okay, all right.
Got respect.
So, Knight, could you ever date a porn star? Yes or no? And why? Or why not?
Absolutely yes. Here's the deal.
He's like, absolutely yes.
I know a lot of dudes would be like, oh, hell yeah, and then end up not being able to handle it. I've seen a lot of interviews with porn stars, how it's difficult for them to date and be in relationships. And I'm saying I'm not one of them dudes. I will happily do it. I will happily do it. Call me. Because here's the deal, right? I'm able to separate the two. I understand one thing is one and one's another, and being in that kind of industry actually it gives you such a perspective on just people, human condition, and things like that. It would be a unique experience for sure. The only issue I would have, and this is a conversation I would have to have with the partner, is would they become so detached from sex, having done it so many times, that it just becomes more of a routine just to make the partner happy? Can they enjoy it?
Yeah.
You know, that's the only thing I'd be concerned about. But having that as a job, no problem whatsoever.
All
None.
right. Kane.
So call me.
Call me. Kane, make it short and sweet because I'm gonna add on to it and I'm gonna have you take us out. Okay.
I would I? Yes. Would it last? Probably not. It's not necessarily like a commitment issue. I don't think I'm very. I'll put it out there. I'm very territorial, so it's like if I'm with you, I'd like to be the only one. I'm not necessarily somebody who likes to share in that regard. So, I mean, call it selfish, call it overly masculine. I mean, call it toxic masculinity, whatever you want. I don't care. I don't think I could maintain a lasting, meaningful relationship with an adult actress. I would definitely give it a run. I'd give it a shot. I mean, it's bound to. We'll survive 2 or 3 arguments, and then that'll be it. But
That'll be it.
also, my biggest
Arguments about what?
So
for the guy. So for what I'm hearing from Callista and Kane, it's the sharing part that's the problem.
Yeah, I don't play well with others.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, and not only, and so again, for me, my biggest issue would be wrapped around. It's like, yo, I ain't too shy to put it out there. I ain't Mandingo. It's 13 inches of the pipe dream for me. Like maybe.
Yeah, but the guys they hire are freaks of nature to begin with. So it's not even like.
Right.
Of course, that matches the industry. I mean, it's like it's funny. I mean, harkening back to comedians and everything, it's like like you're with somebody who takes something bigger than what I've got, for a job, and then like Knight said, it's like, will you become so detached, or is intimacy enough to survive having a sexual disconnect? Because it's like, hey, I'm just not that person. I'm not that well endowed. I'm not on the small end. I'm not on the big end. I'm kind of in that average. And there is, to date, not a whole lot of average porn out there that I would say like, oh yeah, this one chick, she never goes over 8 inches, so I'd be good. So.
All right. So we've got the sharing issue and maybe some insecurities behind, like, okay, she takes it bigger. I ain't got it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna put this just. You know what, Roy? I love you. You pay attention, okay? He's like, Miss Aurora, I think she did date a porn star. I commenting back on 2020 on one of our census videos. She did. Yes, I did date a porn star. Yes, she was my wife. Yes, we were together for a very long time. Yes, she's passed away now. Now here's the deal. I've been not myself been in these porn industries working, okay? But I have been on set with her. I have been in studio. I have liaisoned, business stuff between her and, productions. So I can at least say to Kane that the majority, I'm not going to say all of them, but the majority of the porn stars that I talk to, it's not a size thing, and the size thing goes the hell out the window because of what they just had to do yesterday. Okay, no, I want someone that's average, that is going to make love to me and connect. It's a different thing, because I remember now let me explain this. When I was with my wife, I dated her way before she ever got into the industry. Lost contact with her, found her again one day watching porn. And was like, wait, what? Get my phone, and I'm like trying to find her. Okay, so we link back up, we get together, she's still in the industry. And so there was some insecurities that ran around that. Yeah, we've been together for a very long time, but I'm like, okay, so when we're together though, because I ain't got a D. When we're together though, there's some of my insecurities. I gotta strap something on to make it. And she sat me down one day and she was just like, look, she's like, and if you don't believe me, I'm gonna bring you on set and have you ask the girls. She's like, it's different when you connect with someone. It's different. She's like, that's work. That's work. That's like if you go to your cube every day and you're sitting there going, I gotta fill out this form, check the box. Yep, okay. She's like, the only difference is I gotta suck this. Oh, I gotta bend over now. Damn it. I don't want to bend over today. My leg hurts. My hamstring hurts from yesterday. You know, like things like that. So, I mean, when you're intimate with that person, it's on a different level. They're playing a character. They're playing a thing. It's a fantasy. They're being enticing. It's work. They're getting paid for it. It's completely different than when they're intimate and in a relationship or just dating someone and they're really into you. Like, you don't have to be in a relationship for a porn star to be into you, have sex with you, and have a good time.
There's an emotional connection.
There's an emotion. It makes it different. It makes the intimacy level different. And honestly, most of the porn stars that I talk to, I would date them all day over regular people because they have an understanding. They have an understanding like no one else has. That freaking whole, you're mine, and you're not gonna go nowhere, and then you can't share your pussy with nobody else neither. Like that goes out the window. It's like, okay, it's a job. Okay, everyone's sexual in nature. Okay, you're gonna do it with your mind or your eyes walking down the street while you're holding my hand. So let's just talk about it, get it over with, and like, okay, when we're together,
it frees up so much. It makes it so much easier to focus on what's really important. Yeah.
It makes it really easy to talk because it's very, very, very blanketed and very blunt versus somebody that can't really speak about sex. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And that's a big component in a relationship, is to be able to talk about those things. So
tell your friends.
Right. Date a porn star. It's healthy. Okay.
So that's all we have for you guys tonight. We hope you guys enjoyed tonight's installment of SafeWord. Hopefully you guys get some, good insight as far as, like censorship and everything else. Hopefully we opened your guys' mind and, gave you guys something different to think about over the weekend. And maybe, just maybe, you might go out and have some fun and remember some of this stuff. All right? So, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the love. We're always here for you guys. If you guys have anything you guys want to learn more about, always drop a comment. Hit us up on social media. Send us some questions. We're always here for you guys. All right. That's it for us, though. Go out. Enjoy your Friday night. Have some fun. And always, 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 like I say every single week, remember your safe word.